These are the best heroes to play in Overwatch 2 Season 2. In quick play, in competitive, in any game mode. These are the best heroes. The strongest heroes based off the Season 2 launch meta buff patch, balance patch, whatever we can call that thing. All right then, so let's get stuck into this, guys. Now what we've got is a couple of different tiers. So we've got S plus tier. These are the strongest meta heroes. Then we've got strong picks. These heroes are going to work. They're very strong and they'll work in pretty much any scenario. Very playable is very similar to strong picks. So pretty much these heroes are going to work as well. Less playable, this is when we start getting into the sort of arena of heroes that have, well, they just don't perform as strong as other heroes. And then a very special tier at the bottom, and this really shouldn't be at the bottom, but this is one trick power. So this is if you've got a hero where somebody is an incredible one trick on that hero, they can do absolute damage in a game. So think Symmetra, think Hammond. Anyway, let's get stuck into this list. Now, as ever, I do recommend you grab a drink. I will try to keep this video a lot more concise than the other tier list videos I've done because they can get super long. So we're probably going to spend maybe 30 seconds on each hero and explain why they're strong and why you should play them. Okay, let's begin with Doomfist. Doomfist has got an absolute massive amount of buffs in Season 2 to the point of he is incredibly powerful. He's awesome at diving the backline and killing supports. His empowered fist now is way more powerful, does more damage front, like straight up. You punch someone, it does more damage. Also, his ultimate, when you pop the ultimate, you get a fully empowered fist on landing. This means if you miss a target trying to kill them with the ultimate, you can then just turn around and punch them. This has happened to me a ton, especially playing Ana. It's super frustrating. Doomfist is incredibly powerful, high mobility, really good damage, really good assassination potential for killing enemy backlines. He is mega powerful right now. The next hero we go for is Roadhog. Now, Roadhog is better than Doomfist. Roadhog counters Doomfist and kills him, absolutely destroys him. So if there's a Doom on the enemy team and you're playing a tank, just pick Roadhog and hook him. It's so easy to counter him, it's actually laughable. I think Roadhog is really broken in the game and has been for a while. His hook and the fact that he can essentially one-shot people, and this is the same with Doomfist. He can't technically one-shot, but he can do a lot of damage and take people out. Hog, though, can just one-shot. He can hook you, primary fire, and then melee you. Yeah, I know that's a couple of actions there, but you're dead, right? Because as soon as you're hooked, you can't move, you can't get out of it, you die. You rely on your team trying to save you, and often they won't. This is why Hog is powerful. He's a tank that can just kill people, and Blizzard need to change this hero, I think, because he's sort of letting all of the tanks down. Kiriko, once again, is in the S plus tier. This is simply because Kiriko is the 5v5 support. She is incredibly strong. She's got pretty good damage if you land the shots, really good healing, amazing positional power. The fact she can teleport and wall climb is incredible. And her ultimate, even though it's been nerfed for Season 2, is still a fight-winning ultimate. She is an incredible support. Play Kiriko. Following on with the supports as well, we're just going in straight for Lucio, S tier. Again, 5v5, incredibly strong. He is one of the strongest supports in 5v5, and I think it's going to be a very long time before he even leaves being S tier in anybody's tier list, because he can 1v1. He's high mobility. His healing is very reliable. His ultimate is very good. Lucio is very, very strong. He is an incredibly strong support. A new addition to this tier is Tracer. Tracer has received a 1 damage buff. That's right, 1 damage per pellet on her primary fire. However, this means she's doing massive amounts of damage. Suddenly, Tracer has become very strong. Again, if she's going into a backline, if she's trying to harass supports, she's annihilating them. And this might be something that you'll see here on this list. Look at Doomfist. Look at Tracer. What do they specialize in going into the backline? It makes support players' lives hell. Then you look at Kiriko and Lucio. Well, these guys can actually get away from this being dove upon, being single targeted, sort of isolated and killed. They've got abilities that get them out of it. That's why they are top tier picks. But yeah, Tracer definitely back in the game right now. High mobility. She can get health packs if she needs them. Her ultimate, it's just kind of like a Cassidy grenade. I get that. But it's still strong when used correctly. But Tracer herself is very strong now in terms of damage output. So I would highly recommend playing her. Now, this one is a shock. This is Sojourn. Sojourn got actually pretty heavily nerfed in Season 2. She's got things like her crit multiplier has been reduced quite heavily. Her damage fall-off range has also been reduced. Everything has been reduced about this hero. The time that she can hold her railgun charge has been reduced. But none of it matters because she's still incredibly powerful, because again, it is very easy for her to charge up the railgun, and then it's very easy for her to land a shot. And guess what? If you've got a Mercy on your team and Mercy is damage boosting the Sojourn, then suddenly Sojourn's weaknesses are gone, and the buff or even the nerf that she's received literally means nothing. So you will see at higher levels of the game Sojourn being pocketed by Mercy. This, of course, makes Mercy's power level go up as well, but it just means that, yeah, As soon as you start getting into Masters and above, Sojourn is still in every game, but this time there's a Mercy with the Sojourn. Pocketing her, yeah. She's a broken hero. Probably she needs her ability to charge the railgun off things like barriers removing out of the game, because it's way too easy to do that. Okay, strong picks Mercy. Now, Mercy has definitely gone up the tiers in Season 2. I've always think Mercy's been a pretty good hero in 2v2. 5v5. What? 2v2? What am I playing? In 5v5? Simply because she's got high mobility, right? Res has always been a strong ability. A healing output is okay, it's fine. But now it's the fact that damage boost really buffs the Sojourn back to the levels of Season 1 OP-ness. But it's not just that. I said OP-ness as well there. It's not just that. Because any hero benefits from damage boost, right? You know, if you're damage boosting your hog, it's just absolutely ridiculous. You know, so yeah, she's always been strong in that regard. But it is just because other heroes, I think, are a little bit stronger, that Mercy fits a little bit better or goes further up the list. But like I said, do be aware, Mercy is again one of these heroes that's very hard to kill. That makes her very strong. The longer you're alive in a fight, the better you're going to do. And I've seen some cracked Mercy plays. In fact, Blizzard have even said Mercy is one of the top 3 pick supports at the moment at the highest levels of play. So I would definitely play Mercy. So I think we'll switch it up, go with a bit of DPS. Reaper. Now, Reaper is a lucky little boy. Reaper has dodged any kind of nerf in Season 2. But Reaper is incredibly powerful. Reaper is absolutely ludicrously broken. He's very easy to get a lot of value with, and he benefits from pretty much all of the other meta heroes. You look at Lucio, gives him a speed boost, so that gets rid of his weakness of being slow. Look at Kiriko. She does the same thing, but increases his attack speed. That makes him way better. That's one of his weaknesses. Look at a Mercy. She could damage boost and make him even stronger. You know what I mean? He's crazy. But also, he's a solid pick against the Roadhog, against the Doomfist. That may be coming at you, especially a Roadhog. He can do quite a bit of work to the Roadhog. Obviously, if Hog hooks him and he doesn't have Wraith form available, he will get killed. But apart from that, he still is very, very strong. I'd expect him to get targeted at some point by Blizzard, I reckon. I want to go for Junkrat here. Now, people might go, what you smoking, Sty? What's going on here? Let me rationalize this. Junkrat is very good at close range, and Junkrat's spam is way more effective in Overwatch 2 because there's less things to eat the spam. So when he's spamming away, you can do a surprising amount of damage. His ultimate as well is actually fairly decent. I know it's not the best ultimate in the game, but it's still okay. But Junkrat himself, high mobility, high spike damage, although a little bit unreliable, incredible close range damage. I think he's a sleeper pick, Junkrat. Honestly, all the Junkrats I've played against have been absolutely cracked. Also, his trap is annoying to play against, whatever. It's fine. If someone goes in the trap, then it's pretty much a guaranteed kill. But yeah, I'd pay attention to Junkrat. I think he's actually a strong pick right now. I think we go for another tank next. We go for Orisa. Orisa is, well, I just like Orisa. I really like playing Orisa. She's probably the best tank I can play at the moment, I would say. So I wouldn't go for Doomfist because I would feed on Doomfist. Hog I'm okay on, but his gameplay's kind of ancient and old, very slow. I don't really like it, although he's super effective. Orisa, though, he's doing a lot of things all the time, throwing spears, shooting, blah, 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 blah. I enjoy it. But the thing with Orisa is actually quite good against the other tanks. So Orisa is not a tank that can just be instantly shut down by another tank. She can use her abilities to get out of a bad position. She can throw a spear to interrupt their abilities. She is annoying to play against. Like, if you come up against an Orisa and you're playing any other tank, it is annoying to fight Orisa. And also, she puts out a quite surprising amount of damage across the match as well. I really like Orisa. I just think her ultimate is maybe not the best, but apart from that, you can get a lot of value with Orisa because you've got that long-range poke, you've got that survivability, you've got quite a lot of options with Orisa, but I think the main power of Orisa lies in being able to mess up what the other tanks are doing, especially with your Javelin. Next up, I'm going to go with what I think is the best hit scan, and this is Ashe. Ashe, okay, so Bob is a really strong ultimate in 5v5, again, because there's just less things to shut Bob up. So you throw Bob into a fight, and he probably will get a kill at any level of the game. He'll probably get multiple kills as well. Ashe, though, has got very good long-range damage. Again, who does she benefit from? Mercy pocketing her. You know, that's a massive boost to Ashe. She's got decent close-range damage as well. She's got good mobility with Coach Gun. The Dynamite is, you know, pretty annoying. It's okay for building up Bob. Well, annoying to play against, I guess. It's good for Ashe. But yeah, she's just reliable damage. She's one of these heroes that if you've got her on your team and someone's playing her well, she will have the most damage. I don't think anyone will get close to the amount of damage that an Ashe can do in the game because she is constantly hitting the enemy. And if you've got a Mercy pocketing you, well, then you're just going to absolutely kill people. I also want to put Sigma into the strong pick slot. Now, let me explain this, because Sigma Again, he's reliable. I mean, he's just a better Ramattra. But he's reliable in the sense of you've got that good close range damage output, which is AoE. You've got the barrier, which is reliable. You can easily deploy it. You can use the barrier, crucially, though, to block hit scan weaponry, especially a Sojourn trying to go for headshots in your backline. You can't do this all the time, but it will mess up Sojourn. Like, it's hard to... Like, Sojourn can just do what she likes. That's the problem with the hero. But having a barrier there does help, and the fact that it's projectable and movable does help. Again, it helps against Ashe as well. I still think he's got a very good ultimate as well, Sigma, and I think he's got high self-survivability with the fact that he can use Suck. And... again, we're talking about weaknesses, but look at what the meta heroes do to Sigma. Look at what a Lucio does to a Sigma. It gets rid of his weakness, which is movement. Suddenly, Lucio gives him movement speed. Also, a Kiriko can to some extent as well. So I think he is, again, a very strong pick. If I'm playing a tank right now, I'm probably going to go for Orisa, maybe Hog, and then a bit of Sigma. I just can't play Doomfist at the level I play the game. I can in quick play, that's easy, but like in Diamond and above, I'm just going to get killed on Doomfist because I am going to feed. But yeah, I think Sigma, I think he's a very strong pick at the moment. So let's start the next tier, very playable off, with Echo. Now, I was tempted to put Echo into strong pick. The thing with Echo is, I think she's really hard to play. Like, if Echo was easiest to play, I'd definitely put her into strong pick. Because you can kind of get caught out in the open with Echo, because what you're trying to do is get targets low, then fly and dive on top of them and beam them down. Because obviously your beam does extra damage to targets under 50% health. So it can just delete people from the game. You know, if you land 3 sticky bombs on a squishy, just fly towards them and beam them and they will die. That is like a dead easy combo to do. But the problem is, then you can kind of be out in the open like, uh-oh, I'm waiting for my cooldown and my movement abilities to get out of here. The other thing as well to note with Echo is her ultimate is mega powerful because you just clone a tank and so your team win the fight. Also, Mercy works really well, doesn't she, with Echo? So again, this is one of those situations where even though Mercy's buff is hilarious in this Season 2 where she's just got 5 extra bullets and she can pull out a weapon quicker, she buffs basically a lot of the other heroes that are pretty strong in the game, so that makes her stronger. But yeah, Echo, I wouldn't sleep on Echo. I think she's pretty good. But again, you probably need to be, you know, a decent Echo player. If you're a Pharah player, don't just think you can pick up Echo and play her. It's going to take some time to learn the way she plays. Next up, I'm going to go for Cassidy. Cassidy is a bit of a personal favourite of mine. I know he's really annoying to play against. His sticky grenade makes no sense in the lore of anything. What cowboy is running around throwing sticky bombs? I don't know. But yeah, he's very one-dimensional. He's just got his gun and he's firing away. Fan the hammer's okay. Roll, whatever. It's forgettable. But the grenade is still really strong. If people are caught out of position, Cassidy can just shut them down. Especially like if the enemy team have got a Genji, who I think is quite weak at the moment. But if they've got a Genji, Cassidy just shuts down the Genji because as soon as he tries to get close, he's got a sticky bomb on him. It's like, oh dear. Sticky bomb, it's just, I think, a bit too strong and needs to be looked at. But it's also a boring ability, and I think Blizzard should look at that. But yeah, I just think Cassidy's reliable, but he can't go any higher than this because Ashe is just better than him. I think like Cassidy and Soldier are fairly on the same level at the moment. But I think I'd maybe give the edge to Cassidy just because he's got that better kill potential. So I guess let's just go for Soldier. I mean, we've spoke about him just so let's get stuck into him. Yeah, I just think he's not as good as Cassidy and not as good as Ashe. I mean, that's kind of the simple way to put Soldier up. But if you like playing him, go and play him. I like playing him. He's still probably my favourite hero to play. I know he's very simple. I just like playing Soldier. He's okay. His ultimate gets quite a lot of value in 5v5. But again, like I said, he lacks that kill potential, that kill power, which Ashe, you know, if she's being damage boosted, she's destroying people. But guess who's above Ashe? That's right, Sojourn. She's deleting people from the game. But who's above Soldier? Cassidy is. So, yeah, Soldiers are okay. Next up, we're going to go for Torb. This is simply because Torb is just a worse Reaper. But Torb is still pretty good. His turret can be annoying, especially for Tracer players. If you've got that turret down, it can be quite annoying and mess up the Tracer players. But apart from that, he's just a mini Reaper. That's the only way to look at Torb. His ultimate's fine, whatever. But yeah, he's just a mini Reaper, so if you want to play Reaper Torb and go heavy, just destroying the enemy team's tank or whatever, then go for it. Or like some super brawl comp, but make sure you've got Kiriko on your team and a Lucio, just to get those guys into the fight, and that'd be a pretty difficult comp to stop. In fact, I would probably play Pharah into that maybe, or even Echo. We're going to go for D.Va in very playable. Yeah, she's just fine. I think she's fine. The thing is, D.Va doesn't bring to the table what the Orisa brings in being able to mess up the enemy tanks as easy. She does bring a bit of what Sigma brings to the table in terms of she can prevent damage coming in from the Sojourns and from the Ashes of this world. But I think D.Va's kind of like lost a bit of power recently. She lost the ability to dive and assassinate targets as effectively. And then when we look at Doomfist, he's just better at doing that now. So I don't really see why you would play D.Va above any of the tanks in this list, really. Unless you just wanted to play D.Va, don't get me wrong. I think we've also got to go for Ana in very playable. So Ana gets one of these laughable buffs in Season 2 where she's just got a 1 second reduction on Sleep Dart, which does absolutely nothing. It does nothing. It makes no difference. What is 1 second in the world of Overwatch? It's absolutely nothing. I think it's gone from 15 seconds to 14 seconds. It's just a joke of a change. But again, Ana's problem is, look at who is strong on this list. What do? They kill Ana. So what's Ana's problem? She's getting killed. Oh god, it's not a great time to be Ana. It's just movement problems. It's being isolated by a Tracer. It's being isolated by a Doomfist. Getting your head blown off by a Mercy-powered Sojourn. The list goes on for Ana. I just wish they'd do something to Ana to make her use, maybe get her abilities a bit more often. But the problem with that is she might become super OP. But yeah, Ana, I think she's still very playable. I still enjoy playing her. But do be aware, if the enemy are playing Doomfist or Tracer, they're just going to come for you all game. I think we go for Bap in this tier as well. I mean, I would put Bap maybe a little bit higher than Ana, although Ana obviously brings nano boost to the table, which is very strong. Bap's got vertical mobility, which does help him, and Bap is harder to kill than Ana because he can do more damage to you, basically, and he can keep himself alive longer if he uses Lamp on himself and then he uses regenerative field, I should say. He is more survivable in that sense. Obviously, it's a bit harder for him to heal at range, but yeah, he's okay. He's fine. If you're playing Bap, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Again, I think we just keep on the supports here. Next one is Moira. I think she's very playable. Do I think she's strong? Maybe. I think she's very playable. I played more Moira than any support in Season 1. I really enjoyed playing Moira. It was fine. It's nice having that get out of jail card to just fade away out of a problem. It's great. Obviously, she doesn't bring much to the team in terms of her ultimate. She doesn't bring much to the team in terms of, like, you know, compared to a Lucio or a Kiriko. They're going to win fights with their ultimates. You're not going to do anything really with your ultimate. I mean, you might get a bunch of kills now and again, but you're not going to get too much done with it. And obviously, she's not as good as Mercy because Mercy's bringing to the table that damage boost, whereas Moira doesn't. But, you know, Moira is more self-survivable in some ways because she can take duels easier than a Mercy can. But yeah, she's playable. I'm going to continue to play her. I think she's fine. Widow is another one I think is fine. Widow on certain maps is a killer. And that's the way I'm going to keep viewing Widow. The issue Widow has got is Sojourn is better than Widow on all of the maps where it isn't an explicit Widow map. That being Junkrat, first point. That's explicitly Widow. Or Ilios Ruins. That's explicitly Widow. In every other situation, you should be playing Sojourn if you're a Widow player. That's the issue that she's got. Next, I'm going to go for Winston. I actually quite like Winston still. I just think, like, obviously in this world of Doomfist and Hog killing everybody, Winston, he suffers a little bit. Maybe I can play the old map specific card with Winston. Certain maps of verticality do work better with Winston, like a Dorado or Watchpoint Gibraltar. You know, if these maps are in the map pool and whatnot, he's okay. But like I said, there's just better tanks than him at the moment. But you can still get value with Winston, so I wouldn't worry about it. But the issue I've got with Winston is if the enemy team are playing Hog, which they probably are, or playing Doomfist, those tanks are going to have a lot more impact on the game than the Winston will, and that's going to force you to change your hero, because if you keep playing Hog in Winston, even especially into a Hog, you're almost throwing the game. It is such a hard counter. So yeah, be aware of that. Okay, let's drop down to the less playable tier. But do remember, guys, these tiers, you can still play the hit. Like, no, I don't think any hero is absolutely trash. And if they're on your team, you lose the match. I don't think that's ever... well, I just don't think that's the case at the moment in Overwatch 2. But obviously, like I said, there are heroes that are, you know, weaker as a result of the way the meta's gone and the power of other heroes. And Genji is definitely one of those. You see, the issue with Genji is a lot of all the meta heroes just destroy Genji. They count him. They make it hard for him to do anything. You know, if you're coming up against a Hog, Kiriko, Lucio, Tracer, Sojourn, what are you supposed to do as Genji? You can't isolate any of those targets. You can't really get close to them because you're going to get killed. It's very difficult. You know, what happens if there's a Cassidy in that list? He's going to sticky grenade you. What happens if there's a Reaper? You're not going to kill the Reaper. He's just going to kill you. You know, the list goes on and on and on. I hate it. I really do. I really wish Genji, they could maybe make him a little bit stronger, because I do think the game is in a better place when Genji's stronger, because it makes players better, because you have to shut down the Genji. You can't just ignore him or like rely on somebody to pop an ability that'll probably save you. Okay, maybe Zen could with Transcendence, but it's about targeting and focusing down that Genji. And I just think, yeah, he's less playable now. It's that age-old thing of he's had his mythic skin in Season 1, so they've nerfed him. Unlucky Genji. And you know what? Let's go with a new hero. Let's go with Ramattra. I think Ramattra is less playable at the moment. I did a video on Ramattra and I went into detail on literally everything with the hero. I love playing this hero. He's so good. So Blizzard have nailed that. But what they've got completely wrong is they've just made him very mid. And that's kind of it. All of his abilities are essentially taken from other tanks or other heroes, and they're just not as good. And so you end up with a tank that's just not as good. I do think, though, that if certain things happen to this hero, if he gets buffs in certain directions, maybe he gets a bit of extra damage in some sort of form when he's in his Nemesis form, or he's more resistant to crowd control, or they change Ravenous Vortex, which I still think is one of his worst abilities, to actually just make it do damage or make it properly slow you down. We could be seeing like Ramattra being very strong. But apart from that, he's like, yeah, Sigma is a better Ramattra. That's, I think, one of the issues we've got. You know, so he's fine. I'm kind of shocked a bit that he wasn't crazy OP because Season 2 is the Ramattra season. But then I guess he doesn't have a Mythic skin. But he is in the Battle Pass, isn't he? Oh, Blizzard. Oh, Blizzard. I wish we could go back to the glory years. Bastion. I'm going to say he's less playable. Again, just because other heroes are better than Bastion at what he does. But when Bastion gets to play Bastion, when he's in his little tank turret mode, and he just kills everyone, Bastion feels really strong. But in the moments he's not in that mode, Bastion may as well not exist. So when you play Bastion, you are committing to say to your team, I'm only going to be here for like a fifth of the match. The rest of the time, I'm just going to be this massive target that is so incredibly easy to hit that I'm probably going to die. But yeah. Oh, and the buffs to his ultimate are just useless. His ultimate is useless. Worst ultimate in the game. Just give him back his old tank mode Blizz and then he'd be a beast. Let's go for Junker Queen. She's had a bit of a buff to Command and Shout, but I still feel that she's really suffering because all the other tanks are basically better than her. And she can... maybe a Zarya could take her on. Maybe she could compete with Zarya now. No, actually, I think Zarya might be in the tier above. Anyway, we're not talking about Zarya. We're talking about Junker Queen. Yeah, I just don't think she's got enough. She still doesn't really feel like a tank. Junker Queen, to me, feels like an off tank, and I get the impression she was built during Overwatch 1 and just never came out for whatever reason, and now she's out in Overwatch 2 and we've just got an off tank, and it doesn't really work because Roadhog's a better Junker Queen in every way. Right, Zarya. So I was going to say Zarya was very playable. I think... Oh, Zarya's a really hard one. I'm going to say she's less playable at the moment. But she can... Well, the thing is with Zarya, she can work, but it depends if the enemy team are really feeding you. Because remember, she was nerfed off... Well, it should have been halfway through Season 1. She has fell out of power. But the problem she's got is she finds it hard to kill anything other than the enemy tank. Like, she has to be pushed into the team with a speed boost, which you might get from the Lucio, or with a Kiriko ultimate. Because if you can get past the tank and get into their DPS or their back line, then you can start killing them. The issue I've got is, though, a Doomfist can just do this himself. Roadhog can do it with his hook. Sigma can do it with his primary fire easier. Obviously, Orisa can do this. So, yeah, I just think Zarya gets a bit choked up on the other tank a bit too much. And finds it a little bit harder. But she could definitely be in the very playable tier. It's a bit debatable there with Zarya. I think Reinhardt belongs in this tier as well. He's just an Overwatch 1 hero. I keep saying this about Reinhardt, but if you've got a Rein on your team and the team isn't built to fully play around the Reinhardt, then you will lose because the other tanks can just fight you and kill you. That is a massive problem. And Orisa into a Reinhardt is really funny because you can just burn the Rein down. Like, you can literally just focus on the Rein. I mean, I don't recommend that. I always recommend ignoring the tank and going into the back line, but you can do so much to him. If he tries to charge you, you can just interrupt him. And the list just goes on for all the other tanks. They just wreck him. He's just got a barrier. He's in a world where the maps are more open. There's a lot more flanks. It's almost like Reinhardt needs to be in two places at once, but he can't be. His Fire Strike is a very slow-moving projectile. It's easy to dodge. He just suffers. Although I will say his ultimate is pretty much a fight-winning ultimate because there's generally nothing that will stop the ultimate on the enemy team because guess what? You need another Reinhardt to easily stop it, and there probably won't be one. So you will get fight win after fight win with your ultimate if you can charge it. I think Mei is a little bit less playable. Now, the only reason for this is because I think Torb... You're better off playing Torb than Mei, I think. Now, we could change these around, but it's just because you've got more damage potential, basically, with the Torb. The Mei, though, yeah, wall is annoying. A range damage can come as a bit of a shock, but the fact that she doesn't freeze people with a primary fire anymore, she's just an annoyance in close range. It's like, oh, yeah, Mei's here. Ugh. Her ultimate, though, is very strong and will win you fights. So, yeah, I don't know. Her and Torb, maybe we could change them, but I still think Torb has got a little bit of an edge on Mei when it comes to damage output, especially at close range. I'm going to put Pharah in less playable as well. I don't think she's one-trick power levels of you need like an absolute specialist on her. I still think you can get value on it. I've still been okay when I've played Pharah. I only do it if there's a Mercy on my team. I will say that. I don't feel confident enough to go without the Mercy because I'm not very good with Pharah's positioning. I'll get caught out a lot of the time. But if the enemy have got a Sojourn, you don't play a Pharah into that. If they've got an Ashe, don't play a Pharah into it. It's going to be very, very hard unless there's a massive skill gap. And that's a problem. She's just easily countered by heroes which are very strong at the moment. I also think Zen is less playable to some extent. I still think Discord is a very strong ability, and it's one of the only things you can wreck Roadhog with effectively. But the problem is, I don't really see why you would take the Zen over a Kiriko Lucio or like a Kiriko Mercy or like a Lucio Mercy or a Lucio Ana or something like that. You know, there's so many different combinations using either a Kiriko or a Lucio where the Zen is like, you kind of don't need the Zen. And it kind of really doesn't, it's not worth the loss in all of the other utility that the supports bring. But then again, if you can hit headshots with Zen, you're going to kill people, and that's going to be powerful. And Zen's ultimate Transcendence, it still is a really good ultimate. Obviously, it can be shut down by an Ana grenade and whatnot, but still, it's still a strong ultimate. So Zen, he's less playable, I think. All right, then, one-trick power levels. It's got to be Hanzo. The Hanzo's bugged at the moment, but apparently this is going to get fixed. When he fires, he's got this really weird animation where it jerks his bow up. It doesn't make any sense. But I think if you are very adept with this hero, it can still work because he's still going to land those headshots. He's still going to kill you when you don't expect it. His Storm Arrows is still powerful. His ultimate, when used correctly, can cut teams off, can capture people in a bad situation and kill them. He's okay, Hanzo, but I wouldn't be confident playing him unless I've got loads of hours on the hero, in which case I'll take the one trick all day because the Hanzo is going to land shots. And, you know, I've seen cracked Hanzo one tricks who are like just nailing echoes in the sky and everything. So yeah, I think he certainly is a one trick power hero. Another one is Hammond. Definitely one-trick power. So Ball, if any normal tank player plays Ball, they will feed like crazy. Because it's almost like people get confused. It's like, well, what am I supposed to be doing with Ball? Am I supposed to just be disrupting the enemy backline? No, you should be killing them. Because Ball is so fast, he can get into the enemy, slam someone, kill them, and get the hell out of there. It is mega powerful. To deal with Ball, the whole enemy team needs to turn around and shoot him. And it's very rare they'll be doing that because they're shooting the rest of his team. So this lets Ball be very independent. Of course, it does mean that your team is basically playing without a tank because your tank is this super dive hero in the back line. But you have to be a one-trick hero on Ball as you will feed. I mean, I remember playing a game on Ilios against the Ball main who just destroyed our team. Absolutely farmed us. He was knocking us off the map in spawn and everything. It was insane. I want that guy on my team. Symmetra. Okay, Symmetra is very debatable at the moment. I think Sim is a little bit of a sleeper pick, and I want to get some game time with Sim because I think she is doing a ton of damage at close range, especially against tanks. She's very good against Ramattra because what they've done is they've buffed the charge time on a primary fight, so it charges up quicker, but you lose the charge quicker. Of course, this doesn't matter if you're in a fight because you're just beaming people, and so you get the charge faster. It's a really good buff. She might even be better than Mei. She may be up there with a Torbjourn at the moment. But again, it's one-trick power levels with this hero. Overwatch players are not used to using a teleporter. They're not used to deploying the turrets. If you are, play Sim. You'll probably notice you're going to win a ton of games. Sombra, again, you need a highly specialized player on Sombra. The nerfs to Sombra have basically reduced the damage to nothing again, so she can't sit there and farm people as they're coming back from spawn. She can't repeatedly hack tanks over and over again, so she's in a problematic situation. You need a very good specialist on Sombra to make it work. If you don't have that, it's going to be a struggle. And finally, Brig. Blizzard, you need to do something to Brig, and we know they're going to do something to Brig. They're going to change her ultimate at some point. That involves changing the visual effect of it, which means it's probably going to be a totally different ability, which will be really cool. Brig is just, you need to be a Brig specialist to play this hero now. Her ultimate is not very strong. Jungle Queen has basically got her ultimate on a cooldown, and it's better because it gives you speed boost. Yeah, I feel for Brig. Blizzard need to give us some love, but we do know that they are giving us some love. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is my tier list for Overwatch 2 Season 2 for the launch patch. We will revisit this again when we get the mid-season patch or maybe a hotfix or whatever patches in the pipeline next. But I think this is a pretty solid list in terms of the heroes that I'm going to be looking at playing myself. I think I've actually played a bit of Mercy in quick play, and I've actually really enjoyed Mercy, so I might put a bit more time into that. But I'm looking forward to trying Tracer again. Kiriko is always fun to play. Tank-wise, probably going to play a bit of Orisa, I think, more than the other tanks. And just sort of see where we go from there. interesting. All right, guys, let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. And remember, if you do enjoy this content, do like and leave a comment below because that really, really helps. And I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. See you soon.